Hello, we reading in the writings of Rubbish. The article what it means that the world was created for the Torah. You can find the study materials in our websites and our galaxy. You can also send us questions live through our websites. Anyone asking a question in the study hall is us to stand up, hold the microphone close to his mouth and speak loud and clear. Rob, please. So let's read the article what it means that the world was created for the Torah. Rashi brings the words of our sages about in the beginning God created for the Torah, which is called the beginning of his way, and for Israel were called the Holy of Israel. His first crop should understand what it means that the world was created for the Torah. Torah, simply put, is the king's commandments who commanded us to observe them, but are the king's commandments lacking and want to have someone following them? Do they have feelings? We can say that the king wants his commandments to be followed. This pertains to a flesh and blood king who wants to command them, and he enjoys this. We cannot say such a thing about the Creator, that he wants to be given respect and that they will keep what he commands them. Also, we should understand what our sages said, that the world was created for Israel, meaning not for the Torah. Therefore should understand if the creation of the world has two reasons, or is it one reason, meaning that both point to the same thing. It is known that the reason for the creation of the world was his desire to do good to his creations in order to carry out the perfection of his deeds, meaning so that there would not be shame. A restriction and concealment were established so the delight and pleasure would not shine unless the receiver has the intention to bestow, otherwise there is concealment of the face of the Creator. For this reason we were given the commandment of faith. He leads his world as the good who does good were by the commandment of faith in the Creator, and by observing the Torah and MIT commandments on the basis of faith. The matter of shame will be corrected, however, because of the creation of the created beings who were created with a desire to receive for themselves. The created beings cannot achieve a degree where all their actions are for the sake of the Creator and not for their own sake. This is why the will to receive is called evil, and one who walks in this path of evil is called wicked. The will to receive for one's own benefit is called the evil inclination, because only depicts for one to do is to do everything only in a manner of self-reception, and this harms a person. This means that this is the only reason why a person cannot obtain the delight and pleasure that the Creator wishes to impart upon the created beings, since there was a correction on this quality called the will to receive for oneself, since the will to receive is opposite from the Creator, whose desire is only to bestow, while the will to receive cannot be a giver. In order to have equivalence of form, meaning that while a person receives, he will be able to aim that the reception will be in order to bestow. This is already considered that he bestows. This is called equivalence of form or adhesion, since in spirituality equivalence means adhesion, although in the ACT he is receiving. This is called receiving in order to bestow. However, how can one achieve equivalence of form, since the Creator created this will to receive? How is it possible to revoke the nature that the Creator created? There was a correction on this, that while it is truly impossible to revoke the nature of the will to receive, an intention to bestow is added on top of it. It follows that the will to receive, meaning that a person sees something from which he can enjoy, remains. In other words, the person will still enjoy in the end, but with a different intention. It is called receiving in order to be. However, how can one have a different intention than to receive for his own benefit, but rather for the benefit of the Creator? S said about this, the Creator said, the evil inclination I have created the Torah as a SP. In other words, through the virtue of T, a person can obtain the desire to bestow. This is the only way by which one can be rewarded with vessels of bestow, and our sages said about this, the light in it reforms him. It follows that through the Torah a person obtains vessels of bestow, and then he will be able to receive the delight and pleasure that the Creator wants to give to the created beings. In this respect, the Torah is called 613 counsels, meaning 63 tips by which one is rewarded with vessels of pisto. Afterward, meaning after he is rewarded with vessels of pistol through the Torah, he must receive the delight and pleasure found in the thought of the Creator. That delight and pleasure is also called tam. At that time the 613 camel becomes 6,113 deposits. This means that in each mitzvah there is a special light. This is as it is written in the there are, we shall do and we shall hear, as sages said, doers of his word to hear the voice of his word. In the beginning they do, and in the end they hear, when observing Tov as doers of his word before being rewarded with hearing. Thut are called 613 counsels, and they are regarded as the posterior when rewarded with hearing the voice of his word. The 6 become debits from the warden a deposit, because in each mitzvah the light of a unique degree is deposited. According to the above, we can interpret what we asked. What does it mean that the world was created for the Torah to have feelings? She should feel that she needs someone to observe her. We also asked, but elsewhere our sages said that the world was created for Israel. The thing is that both point to the same thing, that the reason for the creation of the world was his desire to do good to his creations. It is written that when the Creator wanted to create Adam, the angels objected to this, saying, what is man that you should think of him? Why do you need this trouble? The Creator replied to them that it is like a king who has a tower filled with abundance, but he has no guests. It follows that men's creation was in order to do good to his creations. This is why they said that the creation of the world was for Israel. Were called it beginning. Yet what is the delight and pleasure that he wanted to give? Then sages came and told us that the delight and pleasure is the Torah, that is the creation of the world, was for Israel to receive and enjoy the delight and pleasure found in the Torah. It follows that when they said the world was created for Israel, and when they said the world was created for the Torah, it is the same. However, here we are speaking of the receivers, which are Israel, and here of what Israel received. That is, one speaks from the perspective of the vessel and one speaks from the perspective of the light, yet they are both one light and vessel. Interpret what they said. The world was created for the Torah in 2 ways. 1, the Torah is regarded as 613 counsels, 613 tips for subduing the evil, as it is written, I have created the evil inclination. I have created the Torah as a spice, that is, through the Torah the evil is corrected because the light in it reforms him. In this way we should interpret what our sages said. It not for my covenant day and night I would not place the ordinances of heaven and earth. They interpreted day and night to mean the Torah as it is written, and you shall reflect on it day and night. In other words, were it not for the Torah, the world would not exist. Through the whose light reforms him, the world can exist. In other words, it will be possible to receive the delight and pleasure because the Torah will correct the evil in the Crete beings, and they will have equivalence of form by which the floor of shame will be corrected naturally. If the Torah did not reform, it would be impossible for them to receive the delight and pleasure it follows about. As I would not place the ordinances of heaven and earth, so everything would be useless. It follows that the Torah is regarded here only as counsels, meaning tips by which to receive the good. The Torah is considered 63 deposits, which are the holy names, as is said in the introduction of the book, of that in each MIT the light of unique degree is deposited, which corresponds to a unique organ in the 613 organs and tendons of the soul and of the body. It follows that while performing the mitzvah, one draws to its course responding organ in his soul and body the degree of FL that belongs to that organ intended. This is considered the anterior, the P of the MIT, which are then called deposits. Now we can interpret what our sages said the world was created for the Torah, meaning that we say that the reason for the creator of the world was in order to do good to his creations. That delight and pleasure is found in the Torah, which is called the names of the creator, whose general name is the good, who does good. The names given to the creator are only by way of by your actions we know you for this reason, since they attained from the creator delight and pleasure for themselves and for the whole world. They named him the good, who does good, said good for himself and does good to others. This means that they perceived that they received good from the creator, and they also perceived that the creator does good to others as well. However, we cannot speak of the creator himself, as it is written in Nazar, there is no thought or perception in him at all. This means that it is impossible to speak of the creator himself because we have no attainment in the creator. It follows that what our sages said the world was created for the Torah and more ses said that the world was created for Israel are the same thing. The only difference is between the light and the vessel. The light is called Torah and the vessel for reception of the light is called Israel. This matter is explained in a book, SES, where he explains the matter of the Torah. Israel and the creator are one. These are his words. You see that the meaning of the 620 names, which are the 63 mitzvot of the Torah and the commandments of the great SES, are in fact the 5 qualities of the soul, meaning Nare. This is because the vessels of the Nare are from the above 620 the lights of the very light of Torah in each and every mitre. It follows that the Torah and the soul are one. However, the creator is the light of infinity Lud in the light of the Torah, which is found in the above 620. If it follows that Israel and the Torah are the same thing, except that the difference is whether we speak from the perspective of the light or from the perspective of the vessel. However, the order of the work is that since we were born after the sin of the tree of knowledge, we are already immersed in the wool to receive for our own sake, on which there were the restriction and concealment. For this reason, the order of our work begins in Lishma, not for her sake. That is when we begin to observe. Do we must believe even fish, since without faith even fish we cannot work. Wherever the work is on the basis of faith, it is how it work is. Only when the reward and punishment are revealed, the work is called we reason, because we immediately see the results. But when the reward and punishment are covered, and we must only believe in reward and punishment, even Lishma is a great effort. However, this is still not so bad, because It is not against the nature of the will to receive. For however, if we want to achieve adhesion hold in order to bestow, the body begins to resist with all its might, and it is impossible to emerge from the control of the will to receive without help from the about said about this. Were it not for the help of the Creator, he would not overcome it. The advice for this is Torah, since the light in it reforms him. Afterward, when he's rewarded with vessels of pistu, is rewarded with the quality called the names of the Creator, is the delight and pleasure that was in his thought to give to the created beings. This is the meaning of what they said, that the reason for the creation of the worlds was to do good to his creations. Short thank you. D questions. It says in the paragraph 1 before the end, but if we want to achieve adhesion called in order to bestow, the body begins to resist with all its might. Can so when it resists with all its might, what do we do? It's for the person to need the help of the Creator. What's the condition for receiving this help? He needs to be adhered to the Torah, and he needs to ask that he will be given help. Was it mean that he's adhere to the Torah? Adhere to the Torah means that he wants to know what should he do in order to be liked by the Creator, for the Creator to influence him to bestow to him according to his exertion on the necessary forces. Can he writes to ask that impossible to work even inish if we don't have faith. The question is, how do we achieve these faith so that we can work in Lishma? Faith is a special light that comes to a person on the condition that he tries to reach bestow, where his goal is to resemble the Creator, that quality that exists in the Creator, which is bestow or faith. He wants to perform such actions from which you will not derive personal profit, individual profit, but rather his ability will reveal itself from the actions he's doing in order to bestow to the others, to Creator, to anyone outside of him. That's the meaning of in order to bestow, and according to his desire in it. His force of faith in me is measured. Okay. He says that Israel and the Torah are one, but one is from the perspective of the vessel, the other is from the perspective of the light. Can you explain that Israel is anyone who comes to such an attitude toward the Creator where he wants to bestow to the Creator according to how the Creator bestows to him? That's his goal, his purpose. Again, question right. Israel and the Torah are one. However, if we look from the perspective of the light, it's called the Torah. If we look from the perspective of the vessel, it's called Israel. All the forces in a person, as much as he can, should be aimed at the Creator. In this way he'll reveal himself as ready for receiving the light of Torah. What is this light of Torah? The light of the Torah is the upper force that shines to a person and corrects his will to receive with the intention to bestow. How is it one with the corrected side? With Israel, how come this and that are called one? It's simple. A person who has contact with the light, he begins to experience changes in his desire until it becomes desire in order to bestow according to the intention to bestow, where he's in equivalence of form of the Creator. Oh, and he begins to feel see the Creator lot of love, or the Creator begins to reveal himself to him. It's the same. So in what are they? One in the intention to bestow to one another, and that causes them Adian. If he's talking from the perspective of the one who attains the side of the created being, then he can say, now I received a new quality. How can he say something about the light? How can he say anything about the light? To even say that he and I are one, he feels power appears in him and gives him the ability to bestow, to think not of himself. Go ahead, ask He writes that without faith it's impossible to do, even to work, even in Lishma. Where do we bring faith is when you're not yet you don't yet have a clean intention is the upper light that shines to a person, giving him the fa of so fate. Everything bestowed to some extent, that's what we need to come to first and foremost. So it's just that he says that without faith even in ish we cannot work is not. Yet I didn't get it. Heroes, we must believe even in ifish, since without faith even if Lishma we cannot work. Yes, you can't even distinguish between whether or not he's in Lishma or in Ma. So what gives him faith? Maybe I'm not understanding this concept correctly. Gives a person the power to be above his desire. Then what does the Lishma give him? He still yearns to reach Lishma, but he hasn't made it. So why does he write it? Without faith even in Lishma he cannot work. Yes, because he's still not coming out towards it. He doesn't express a yearning for it. If he achieves faith, why does he need anything beyond it? No, if he attains the force of faith, has nothing more to do but to increase. I guess I'm not grasping correctly the relation to he talks about here. In relation to what does he put the emphasis here? Lish means that a person is as much as he can notice it in order to receive, and he cannot come out of it. Then it is called Lish, but he knows, he feels that this is his state, his degree, and through efforts he comes out of Lishma gradually goes into Lma he inside the will to receive, and he feels that he cannot get out of it. In order to be in this discernment, does he need faith? He needs a certain illumination. Yes, where do we begin to work with that illumination called faith? Start from wanting to rise above his will to receive. He writes here that the Torah is divided into two. During the SC it is 613 councils. After the correction it's 613 deposits. What does it mean that the Torah shines to a person at 613 council? Well, a person nevertheless sees how he still has this incomplete attitude toward the Creator. Does a person feel it? Person feel that the Torah shines to him in this manner. It's hard to talk about a feeling, but he feels that he cannot rise above his will to receive for himself. This still keeps him here. How does he use it? How does he use the Torah at this stage? He tries to bring himself light that will raise him to a higher degree. He can feel that he's still in the world to receive, and he wants to see himself as someone rising above it, and he feels that it is the Torah that is affecting him. How does he feel his relation, his come to the Torah? And in a state it's the upper forest, it's the reforming light. He already has such a connection. He has a feeling of this influence over him. Yesing to your answers to these two questions. In every degree a person shift from a to the two states exist in every degree. Yes. No, I feel that this concept of T and is seemingly expanded, so I have a few questions about that. Does the myth begin from L again? Yes, and the light that is addressed in the myth accompanies work even when a person begins from Lishma. When we speak of to, so in every myth there is light that accompanies the person from the point where he begins in Lishma. Yes, all the way up to Lishma. And when does this system of tone myth, when was it established? In the skating from above down exist from the moment the person was created, and he's beginning to use his for forces from the shattering of the vessels. Following the shattering of the vessels, you asking from the side of the system. Yes, it's prepared from the beginning of the creation of the world. Last question. Every soul has its own T, and every soul has its own, and person is on the degree of the soul. Then of course he has connection with Can no. Good morning says that the Torah was given levels as counsels and as deposits. Now at least the way I feel it, we are in the councils, but once in a while we have like a little bit of deposit. It's not yet so wee little bit. How will we get faith? I don't know. The light shines in the form of an illumination. We can't distinguish it, we can't notice it. Yet with it help we gradually come closer. Our desires change, although we are unaware of it. When we want to reach faith above reason, and we want to create a prayer, so we're in a certain place, and we want to unite more of our parts so that they will all be directed correctly. How do we do that? With the friends, through connection between us as tightly as possible. What will give us a bit more force is the light that shines in our efforts, will bring us closer, connect us. Again, what is the condition for the reforming light to work on a person? But a person prepares himself for receiving the light. The light eyes rather to the extent that you're going towards it, you receive it. Illumination seems that you start going towards the direction of connection with the friends, working with the friends. You shake yourself and you see that you're doing it for the wrong intentions. Maybe in the end you want to read something, but even with incorrect intentions, nevertheless you are exerting effort. You're doing something. Nevertheless, you have invested certain efforts toward the desire against the desire. How do we call these efforts against the desire? Before I have the right intention, because when I check myself, I don't have the right intention. Nevertheless, you exert. We do the work between the friends. That's also considered labor. What's in this exertion that draws the reforming light? How come? What's there? This is called but from we come to, but it's still not an intention in intention, but it's concealed. A person does not feel that he is with that intention. He lacks the correct attitude. Yet the revealed the open attitude, mut it with the Creator. The measure of the intention towards a bowl determines the measure of the revelation of the Creator. By what is the measure of the intention determined? Amal, the effort a person puts in order to reach Lishma. How do we measure it? The amount of efforts we make every day. We can't measure it in our work for the time being. We will be able to measure it later, once begin to receive reforming light, and according to the illumination of the light we'll understand the degree of our efforts. That is why efforts without light means that we are in a state of concealment. Okay. Good morning, good morning, Ra and friends. Can an act done with a good intention, can it ever cause harm? No, cannot. Or an good morning, dear morning. What does it mean that in each mitzvah the light of, let's say, a unique degree is deposited? Is a commandment is a result of a person's effort when he approaches the Creator. By approaching the Creator even on a part of this path, in that part of the path he reveals the light, the upper light, and he can measure himself in this way. Can this light be used, or is it for later use? No, you can use it of course when the vessel is before me are my efforts, the degree of my closeness, and the light that feels this so that I attain owing to my efforts deposited, that it's put away. More accurately, it's deposited there. The light in that effort that I made, that light is deposited, and now it begins to shine to me. Yeah, thank you. I read that the will to receive is called evil. Question: what are the things that help a person discover that the will to receive is evil? What disturbs the person the most? I would say his pride. That's the most disturbing. What's the best way to work with it? Subjugate your head relative to the Friends, that's it. Latin. When. The ability not to think of oneself. It's a power. So can you explain what does it mean, this power? I didn't understand. You said the ability not to think about oneself, not to think of myself. It's a power. It's force that is given to a person. So can you explain that ability not to think of ourselves? It's a force. Yes, can you explain what is included in this force? What's included in this force? The upper light. There's nothing more other than that. If it shines, we are above water, receive above our nature. To the extent that he shines, so will we rise and will think not of ourselves but of others, of the Creator, and so on, so forth. Okay, it says that with the help of the Torah we receive, we get vessels of bowl. The question is, when do the light begin to change us? The level of the light, the intensity of the light influences us, and the sides. We say that when we and now we have a desire to connect, help the friends go, put the disturbances together. The smallest thought, the smallest inclination towards connection and closeness, the light influences us. But fast to feel his response, his reaction in such a way that we'll be able to talk about him. That's not instantaneous. That's not right away. Okay. Thank you already. Hello dear friends, I'm asking this question on behalf of my friend in my 10. The question is, what is the relationship between the intention and the killer of Torah and envy? And what should our intentions be when it comes to the Torah? Thank you. Ra is the general light, the upper force that helps us rise above our will to receive. The more we rise above, the more actions of bestow can we perform, called with commandments. Slovak. Free fear. Other friend fors. Question on what is 7 are commandments of wise men. Repeat, please, the 7 commandments of the sages. Well, we'll scrutinize it later. It's not for now. Ask a more general question. What should be the influence of faith on man's corporal life? Person needs throughout the day to try and approach the quality of the stall and the connection with his friends. That's it. Woman Tom to 1. What does it mean to be rewarded with hearing the voice of his word according to how much we wish to connect to the friends? Accordingly, we become more worthy of hearing the voice of the Creator. Hello, hello. Friends, do the 613 mitzvah equal vote? Are the 613 commandments, are they related or equal to the T? Wrote yes, of course. In all of the 10 what dwells there is the light of the 63 commandments, rather 620 commandments. Thank you. Or it's no secret that for women it's difficult to connect. Where will we take this or force that will push us to connection? What is this prayer that we need to have that will make us stronger for connection? Anna, you shouldn't complain that you're a woman and seemingly it's more difficult for you than to for a man. There are actions that are easier for a woman to keep than for a man. In general, it really doesn't matter in relation to one's egoism. Every person receives the forces that are exactly suitable for it. Chairman, for our text, good, more good. Morgar, it is written that the order of the work is that since we were born after the sin of the tree of knowledge, we are already immersed in the water, receive for our own sake, on which there was the sum and concealment, and this is in our understanding the prison that each of us is in. What is being concealed, and how can we manage to achieve that? The friends are being released from prison because they are also in prison. How can we become free from the prison? And friends are also in prison. What again? Sorry, he read having been born after the sin of the tree of knowledge, and that's what we immersed in the sin, and I because I am in prison 2. How can we free the friends from prison? Because I am in prison. 2. Drawing reforming light, so even though I'm still in prison and I cannot help them come out, however I awaken the light, the reforming light, and in this way I come out. So this is a personal, individual work. Yes, it's individual then. The world was created for men to do good to the created beings, so why should a person suffer so that later he'll be able to receive some pleasure? Why was it created this way? To help a person to get rid of his egoism is why man was created inside his egoism, and it's difficult for him to get out of it. His desire to get closer to the Creator is measured according to his efforts, that is all. Women Ukraine. 2. Morning Rob, we have a few questions. Is there a promise to go from? There's no guarantee of anything. One who works in order to get out, he gets out. Woman, we the state of receiving in order to anyone who gets that place is promised to stay there or in ascent and descent and bestow contentment to the Creator. If you came to this of what does it mean to receive in order to bestow, then going backwards is horrible, or it's promised to him that if he got there, he at the very least he remains there despite the ascents and the sense. Yes, he remains. Women Latin. 24. Hello friends, can you say that until I come to love the other? The light of Torah will not shine. That is correct. Where will it shine? Where it will be. Where will it be revealed? Only in a place where you want to come closer, to give, to bestow, to love. Move on. Is the light working instantly on each and every effort, or is it working on a result of the accumulation of efforts? Both. There is individual light there and general light. The next part. Yes, and we'll sing a song. Through the fire we ignite. There's a place where we unite. Through the heart a stream of light piercing through the night. Through the fire we ignite. There's a place where we unite. Through the heart's a stream of life. Pi through the night, and together with a torch that burns, together with a heart fats, all together with just 1 to 1 hold, and together with the torch that burns, together with a heart that's all together with just 1 goes to 1. Together shadows dance with light, together in a land beyond place and time. Together shadows dance with light, together in the land beyond place and time. Through the white there's a place where white, through the heart a stream of light piercing through the night. Through the fire we ignite. There's a place where we night. Through the heart's a stream of life piercing through the night, and together with a torch that burn, together with a heart that he is all together with just 1 go from is to on hold, and together with a torch that burn, together with a heart that he is all together with just 1 call from pi to 1 home. Together shadows dance with light, together in a land beyond place and time. Together shadows dance with light, together in the land beyond place and time. Reading the study of the volume 2 part 6, page 96 in the Hebrew edition. Item 6. Let's start. Item 6. The words of D. Then it wanted to bring the externality of the inner marrow and bone in it outwards, and then all the phases of the inner sag concealed in the inner marrow and bone ascended, and the inner marrow and bone ascended along with them. Then these man be are their manta, the tastes of s which are not clothed inside marrow and bone. They are in the role of ab and to, says as upper, make a coupling for zone, and the suit are incorporated with them. So it is here. The tastes s make a coupling with all of ab. Moreover, the dots, tags, and letters of sag connect with them and become subordinate to them. Consequently, they do not bear name, like the above mentioned your Suit then they engender the of bone in externality, and their garment outwardly thus the female was now born. First, explanation in a light item 6 in the starting in the previous page. In the printed edition, item 6 inner, light all the inner phases of S, concealed in the inner mind bone. Ascended the matter of this ascent is as the ascents of the lights in the first, departure in the inner and as the ascends of the lights of the second, departure in AB, is it implies a complete refinement of the screen from all of its coarseness, until it equalized with the phase of the screen of this equivalence means that the screen and all the records included in it rose to Malav and were incorporated in her in the coupling of the same occurred in the sag for after it is present in Malat of sag, meaning when the screen had been refined into the level of Mal it too came from there and was completely refined from its coarseness and equalized with the coupling stopped from the P and all the light it's departed to the emanator. It is all as has been explained. Above it has also been explained that the lights leave behind them records. During their departure it has also been explained that as the screen passes from to during the refinement until it is completely refined and comes to it, becomes incorporated in those records, it follows that the lights of S, clothed in the inner zone, these lights that have already been mixed with the coarseness of phase 4 in the vessels below the top, although they have departed from there, they left behind them records. These records of phase 4 were incorporated in the screen that rose to Mal of, so when the screen rose to Mal of, it brought with it the records of the inner zone called inner Ma, and be it is written in that state all the inner phases of sag concealed in the inner mind and bone ascended, meaning the records of the low of S itself that are clothed and concealed inside the records of the inner Ma and bone, which are from the coarseness of face 4, and since the records of the lights of sag are mixed and incorporated in the records of Ma and on, they ascended and were incorporated together with a screen of sag of those and were incorporated there in the upper coupling, as he explains as fourth. We might ask, it has been explained that sag remained in the phase of permanent, present and not present. How does he say here that in sag there's also the departure of all the lights to the head? Indeed, you already know that there is no absence in the spiritual, and all the changes we discern in the spiritual are but additional forms. The previous form is never revoked. It is the same here, for although the matter of the departure of lights are here in the matter of the departure of the lights after the lights of sag mix with the inner mind bone, the perpetual form of present, and that present still remains intact. This means that there is always an exchange of lights, the departure of lights, the return of the lights, and then it enters the same work again. In that degree the inner mind bone ascended along with them. It has already been explained above that the records of sag were incorporated with the records of Ma and on, and they were all incorporated in the screen, and with it to the Ma and B are there. Man, the screen ascends to Mal of the to be incorporated there in the cupping of the to be renewed and expand from there to a new as it was in the previous twom. And this screen has now acquired a new name, which is Man, acronym for main Nukin female waters in AR. This is so for the reason explained above, that two kinds of records were mixed here with one another, the records of the lights of sag with the courteous of phase 2 with the records of the lights that clothe in the inner. It is that phase 2 is the first hay of have, and the coarseness of phase 4 is the last hay of the name, which are two females when the screen rises to be incorporated in the coupling of, or it is incorporated with these two females. Together for this reason it is now called M in plural form since it is incorporated in both. Females know that this connection caused the making of 10 vessels in the 10 and the correction of 2 lines, and this is the meaning of the association of the quality of mercy with judgment. Since the first hay is the quality of mercy and the last hay is the quality of judgment, now they came together in the screen in a single coupling, as we will elaborate on later. On it is said these Ma and Bon are there. Man, this means that they induced the matter of the man that was renewed from here on in the world, since they are the son of the inner whose level is up to hay because of the phase 4 in it, and they were incorporated and came in the records of phase 2 which are from the lights of S, and were doubled together in the coarseness in the screen, and then they were called man, and know that from the moment they became connected they never parted from each other. The only difference between them is the internality and externality. At times phase 4 is concealed inside and phase 2 or phase 1 are outside, and at times phase 2 is concealed inside and phase 4 is revealed outside, as it was here the first time. They connected as the rights here the inner phases of sag concealed in the inner mind bone, thus phase 2 is concealed inside while phase 4 is revealed outwards. This will be explained further in its place, which means that these records cause us the arrival of the new lights next to the tastes of sag themselves, which are not clothed inside Ma, and as has been explained above, the tastes of sag, which are the lights in the vessel of the goof of, must end evenly with the meaning above the tab. This is because the male clothed in the vessel of has the level of like, and the female in the vessel of is incorporated along with it. Hence they cannot shine below the tobo, since they do not have a screen of face, for it follows that the lights of the tastes of sag are not clothed in Ma and be below the tobo. This is why it says that they became man to the tastes of sag themselves, which are not clothed in mind bone, namely the in the vessel above the goof of S that end above the tab. The matter that took place here and the light that was drawn because of it will be explained below in its proper place. This deduction must be thoroughly understood, as there are two very different halves of SG. Here the upper half of SG, which is the vessel of the goof of sag called tastes, which ends above the tobo, did not descend and did not mix with the inner MB, and remained in its coarseness of phase 2 and phase 3 of clothing the lower half of sag, meaning the lower end from below is it descended and was mixed with the inner mind bone. Two kinds of courses were doubled in it, that of 2 and of 4. Together he says that its upper half, which did not mix with phase 4, is called upper ABA, and its lower half, which was mixed with 4 as man, is called Israel Soba. And remember these names well, for the uses them throughout the rest. Know that this is the root of the divine of 2 called, and both emerged from that came out, meaning the of the and these already received from the lower half of S, which is corrected with M. However, because they are 10 complete, where are the phase of the meaning from and in and above, therefore they are regarded as not being included in the man, since the screen of man is established below them, meaning in, and the course does not operate at all from below upward. However, you are the phase of A, the extended from downward, where the screen of man already operates on them, are attributed to the lower, which is already mixed with phase. For this is how we sometimes think that Yes is the of the next degree the lower degree. Yes upper make a coupling and are incorporated with them the matter of has already been explained. There are cons and a single of they were divided into two hails of the through the ascent of the lower hay, toik the upper half which is, she is regarded as no longer connected with phase 4 in the lower hay since she is below the they are called the other half of the t which are the below the lower regarded as connected with face, for in the lower hate they are discerned as the goof which receives from above downward these two halves of the join into a single to be z, since that lower in fike descends once more to the place of the p, meaning to the mal of the, then the return to the as well and it with the intent of a single and b. It is written that as the upper make a coupling for and are incorporated with them, so it is here the tastes of sag make a coupling with all of, moreover the dots, tags and letters of sg connected with them become subordinate to them. Explanation: the matter of the birth of, though of has been explained above, connect with into single, and the coupling is done on the screen of phase 2 in the general. He the 10 that emerge on the screen have the level of g of and become and of it is not for the purpose of the meaning, although this coupling should also be done, in which are always the phase of here are incorporated with, because the drop of incorporated in of being ascends and is incorporated in the screen of is in turn are incorporated in ABA, and the coupling takes place in the screen of incorporated as man in the screen of above. The level that emerged on this coupling is close to phase 1, lacking, and then z emerges without, but only as goof without a here too only of emerge in the beginning like the above. Hence the s mixed with for rose and incorporated within the tastes of s, those in turn did not mix with phase 4 and are regarded as upper. The taste of sag rose to of s with the man of the dots, and the coupling was done on the man of the dots incorporated in the tastes, and not only the phase of the screen of the tastes. Then the man rose to the which are phase 1, since the reflected light ascending from only draws only the level of, and it is this level that descended once more from the taboo down to the t. It is written that the dots, tags and letters of s connect with them and become subordinate to them. This is because the lower 9 of s called dots, tags, letters, dots are and tags are meanings, and letters are b, which is they became man and rose to the taste of sag where they joined with them, and w incorporated in those tastes. Hence the coupling took place therein. Fun of the tastes. Well, a little bit we'll get to. Item 7 more bone of externality and their garment outwardly do not miss in that the level of which is always called b was born here, because the cup is from the coast of phase 1 which is a level of, moreover there is phase 2 here from the phase of clothing which is close to the level of sag. Indeed, you shall see that the calls it by the name be of externality, and not merely born as it is actually the phase of s. This level is actually called which is s, but since the external of this descended to phase the phase of below the t, where the root female of all the worlds was built, whose value is actually s and not bone, since the inner bone which is phase 4 remained entirely in the inner, and not a single phase of female in it appeared in all the worlds. Therefore all malav, this that emerged through Thike is called b, as she inherited the place of the inner bond. This is why it is said then they be of bone of externality. Thus the female was born first, as it says above, that emerged through The from which the 10 of the where emanated it is the root female and all the worlds, meaning we actually don't have a true male in all of the worlds. Okay, let's move to something else. I see that it's difficult. The material itself is difficult. There are questions. Yes. David question, what does it mean that a screen moves, that it rises, lowers? What does that mean? Wherever there's a degree for the coupling to there, we say that this screen rises to or lowers to. So the screen is our ability to receive in order to be still. Yes, so slower it means that it recedes more in order to bestow it. Vessels bigger, what's its height? Mean height is defined according to the relation between time. Kenny wrote that the records ascend with the screen. Aren't the records in the vessel? Or is it on the screen? The records rise with the screen and they are called, they define where the screen will stand for the coupling, striking, and the fact that the screen refines so it doesn't change anything. Yes, when it reaches the what remains in it, nothing of the previous P remains. There we'll say, and the new records are awakened there where the screen is awakened in the level of the RO, and the records are awakened on new records. So what's the matter of the records when it was below in mind bone? He can't work with them already, so it sounded as if that is what it does work with. It brought those records of the inner zone. That's in that situation. Yes, so what does it mean that there? That's where the coupling is. So how could a screen refine itself? And the records, I understand, also get refined. The records of that screen, the records remain in the screen. And how does it remain if the screen refines itself from mal of the mal? Of what part are you talking about? If we are talking about time of, then we are scrutinizing the screens of, and the screen rises to a higher degree. Time you're speaking about, and in that the mal of the goof that is below ascends back up to the mal, and it shows that there's records of the inner mind. But yes, this is an addition. This is what we have in the second restriction. Yes, and those records do remain in the screen that refines itself. They don't really belong to this screen. So what does it mean that it brought those records of the inner zone together? Yes, what does that happen in the same screen? It's like an accompaniment. He carries them with him upwards, and therefore we also have two striking of coupling of strikings taking place there later. What do you want about the nuke? That there's a new NV, and there are two of them, and from them 10 come. How from two females you get 10 without a male? We are just reading these things for the time being and are not talking about the results. If of the second phase or the female of the fourth phase, we'll talk about that later. And there's an inner mind bone and an external mind bone. So in every P there's internal and external, or only in mind bone only. And what's the difference between internal and external? Usually the internal one, the inner one, is more important than the external one. There's a lot of questions also in the world CLE. We can study this a lot. Okay, that's clear. It's known that all the sixth part is very as important as it is. It's not really clear. Takes time to start grasping it. Okay, all right. What else do we have? Dear speech for the completion of the zoo. Okay, we'll go to the next part of the lesson. We are reading from the writings of Bam. The article is the speech for the completion of the Z, starting from the paragraph. Indeed the whole Torah, indeed the whole Torah revealed and concealed is the thoughts of the Creator without any difference. It is like a person drowning in the river whose friend throws him a rope to save him. If the drowning person catches a rope in its near part, his friend can save him and pull him out of the river, so is the toe being entirely the thoughts of the Creator. It is like a rope that the Creator throws to people to save them and pull them out of the kipper. The shelves, the end of the rope which is near to all people, is the revealed toe which requires no intention or thought. Moreover, even when there is a faulty thought in the commandments, the Creator still accepts it as it is written. One must always engage in, and since from he will come to are the end of the rope, and there is not a person in the world who cannot grip it if one tightly grips it, meaning is rewarded with engaging in to bring contentment to one's maker and not oneself. The lead one to equivalence of form with the Creator. This is the meaning of and bow here to him. At that time one will be rewarded with attaining all the thoughts of the Creator, called secrets of the Torah and flavors of the Torah, which are the rest of the are. However, one is awarded only after one achieved complete. The reason we compare the Creator's thoughts, meaning the secrets of the Torah and the flavors of the Torah to a rope, is that there are many degrees in the equivalence of form with the Creator. Hence there are many degrees in the rope attaining the secrets of the Torah. One's measure of attainment of the secrets of the Torah, of knowing his thoughts, is as the measure of equivalence of form with the Creator. Overall there are 5 degrees, each of which consists of all of them. Also each contains 5 degrees, and each of those contains at least. They are also called worlds, as our sages said the Creator is destined to grant each righteous 3,133 worlds. The reason why the degrees of attaining him are called worlds is that the name world has 2 meanings. All those who come into that world have the same sensation, and everything that one sees, hears and feels, all those who come into that world hear and feel as well. All those who come into that hidden world cannot know or attain anything in another world. These 2 degrees are also found in attainment 1. Anyone who has been rewarded with a certain degree knows and attains in it everything that those who come to that degree attained in all the generations that were and that will be. He has common attainment with them, as though they are in the same world. All who come to that degree will not be able to know or attain what exists in another degree. It is just like this world. They cannot know anything of what exists in the world of truth. This is why the degrees are called worlds. For this reason those with attainment can compose books and put their attainments in writing, in nations and allegories. They will be understood by all who have been rewarded with the degrees that the books describe, and they have common attainment with them. But those who have not been rewarded with the full measure of the degrees, as the authors will not be able to understand their intimation, it is even more so with those who have not been rewarded with any attainment. They will not understand a thing about them, since they have no common attainments. Questions? Yes. Please, what do we need to do in order to hold on to that rope? Strongly be together and hold on to this edge of that rope. That's our work in the 10. Yes, alone it's impossible. What's the end of the rope? The end of the rope is that which we can somewhat be in some form of the smallest equivalence, but with the greater. Written that the Torah are the thoughts of the Creator. Yes, what is he thinking about giving, about bestow, about everyone's connection, in that we can be an equivalence of form with him. So what does it mean to grab the rope? That we will try to constantly be together in one thought, feel one another, and together from our connection also hold on, gripped onto the Creator. From mutual bestow between us come to bestow to him. Okay, all right, so let's do a question. There, here we have. Please says that the end of the rope is close to all people, which is the secret of the revealed to that doesn't need any intention or thought. What does that mean? That we have yet come to those qualities in order to bestow, and therefore to the extent in which we are in order to receive. If we yearn come to in order to bestow to connection with the Creator, and it's enough for us to begin that connection. What does it mean enough? What is a revealed to for us? What's that end of that rope, that which we are capable of being in connection between us, just like we learned from the social writings from etc. And it's enough for us in order to begin that connection. What is this connection? It says that it doesn't need an intention or thought. We don't yet have the right intention and thought of in order to bestow. So what is this connection that's without intention, that we intend to reach that's our state tree to what makes that rope so reliable? What makes the rope so reliable and strong? Us to the extent in which we hold on to grip onto the end of the rope that is close to us, where we want to be together, and together to hold on to that rope and not to let it let go of us. It all depends on us. Here on the lower end of that rope, we'll continue reading. We're starting with where it says we have already said that the complete and complete attainment is divided into 125 degrees overall. Accordingly, prior to the days of the Messiah, it is impossible to be granted all. And there are two differences between the generation of the Messiah and all other generations. One, only in the generation of the Messiah is it possible to attain all 125 degrees, and in no other generation. Two, throughout the generations, those who ascended and were rewarded with were few. As our sages wrote about the verse, I have found one person in 1,000, where 1,000 enter the room and one comes out to the light, meaning to and attainment. But in the generation of the Messiah, each and every one can be rewarded with and attainment, as it was said, for the earth will be full of the knowledge of the Lord, and they will teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Lord, for they will all know me, from the least of them to the greatest of them. An exception is Rash and his generation, meaning the authors of the Zohar, who were granted all in completeness, even though it was prior to the days of the Messiah. It was said about him and his disciples, the sage is preferable to a prophet. Hence we often find in the Zohar that there will be none like the generation of Rash until the generation of the Messiah King. This why his composition made such a great impression in the world, since the secrets of the Torah in it occupy the level of all 125 degrees. This is why is said in the Zohar that the book of Zohar will be revealed only at the end of days, meaning the days of the Messiah. This is so because we have already said that if the degrees of the examiners are not at all a full measure of the degree of the author, they will not understand his intimations, since they do not have a common attainment. Since the degree of the authors of the Zohar is at the full level of the, they cannot be attained prior to the day of the Messiah. It follows that there will be no common attainment with the authors of the Zohar in the generations preceding the days of the Messiah. Hence the Z could not be revealed in the generations before the generation of the Messiah. This is clear proof that our generation has come to the days of the, and we can see that all the interpretations of the book of Zohar before ours did not clarify as much as 10% of the difficult places in the Z. Even in the little they did clarify, their words are almost as abstruse as the words of the Z. itself, but in our generation we have been rewarded with the Sulam commentary, which is a complete interpretation of all the words of the. So moreover, not only does it not leave an unclear matter in the whole of the, so without interpreting it, the clarifications are based on a straightforward analysis which any intermediate examiner can understand. Since there's appeared in our generation, it is clear proof that we are already in the days of the Messiah at the outset of that generation, of which it was said, for the earth will be full of the knowledge of the Lord. Why you stop? Do you have anything to add to this? I see that what he writes, he wrote it in a very clear way, as much as we can hear and understand. And more than this, if you have any questions, so please, so I'll be able to answer, but you're right in a way that there aren't really any questions about this. Yeah, you see, everybody's silent. Everybody also in the world, our friends, are also okay, he writes in a clear manner. But we're here is that for the land is being filled with the knowledge of the Lord. You can ask 1,000 questions like that. But I guess that as we get closer to the days of the Messiah, to the revelation of the Messiah, it's a very special revelation of the Creator to the created beings. It'll be more clear. He writes that we're the beginning of that generation. Yeah, but it seems like humanity is moving backwards, not in the direction of the knowledge of the Lord. Why? Because there's just darkness and there's no attitude towards all the things that we're learning about in the wisdom about the Lord, about the Creator, the advantage of light from the darkness. So maybe as much as we feel that we're in the dark, we'll have more of a desire and an impulse to reveal the light, and will demand that it will be revealed. And for now we really don't have enough of a tendency for it. So the disclosure of darkness in the world today is the beginning of the revelation of the knowledge of the Lord. No, it's the beginning of our desire to reveal the okay, what does it mean? And the earth will be full the knowledge of the Lord. I guess that all vessels of the created beings will be able to be filled with the upper light, with the revelation of the Creator to his created beings. What will they know? Knowing is an even higher degree than receiving the light. That's already a special interconnection to the light. How will the world appear when people will know the Creator? I don't know. I'm not from the generation that it was already the upper light. The Messiah has revealed that I can know how to even explain it. So where are we aiming towards? We are aiming to a state that the Creator will reveal as much as he can to our state, and that's how we go from one state to the next. So what does it mean that the Creator is being revealed to all of humanity, that eventually everybody will understand and know, from small to big, that they need in their connection to reveal a desire for revelation of the Creator? What's the revelation of the Creator? That is the knowing of the Creator, first of all the feeling of the Creator and the connection with him. This Creator, what is it that is being revealed, that is being known, that's connecting to? That's what fills our vessels. When people will know this, will feel this, will reveal this, how it impact us. We will want to connect between us for him to be revealed in us. What will be the expressions of this? Expressions that we will feel and understand and attain what it means to be close to the Creator in all the answers. You say the Creator, the Creator, the Creator, but what's Creator? What's Creator? It's the upper forest that holds us and prepares us for his degree. What qualities will spread in humanity that are not there today? Will attain the good that does good, which is the main force of the Creator towards us, and we want to adhere to him. Human beings will become creatures that are good, that do good. Yep, and then they will be filled with The knowledge of the Lord, will they be wiser than us? I don't know what wiser means, but they will be able to perceive this ideal of the Creator, to do good to his created beings, that they will connect and, once in that way, give back, to bestow back to him. Ken, yes, the state of the days of the Messiah. Is it the time of will from above, and at the moment it depends on our yearning to develop that state, or state that we must develop a deficiency to reveal the Creator between us. We can't attain the Creator outside of us. Like, let's say, if you attain, you see the friends, this world, we have to discover the Creator inside us, so that there'll be such a connection between us that it'll resemble the revelation of the Creator, suitable for the revelation of the Creator. Mask 1. Yes, Rob, friends, thank you, states that we understand only from the degree of connection between us what are the actions that we are performing in the generation of the. How will this generation come to this connection if it is just distancing from it? So where will connection that's being described, that will at least resemble spiritual entrance? We are as if moving away from the Creator, becoming worse and worse. It's according to the law, the advance of light from the darkness. That's why there's no reason to say that we're moving away, but according to the rules we learn in the wisdom of Kabbalah, this distance is one of the signs of coming closer. That's why he writes here that we come close to the revelation to such an extent that we're in the generation called the generation of the Messiah. It doesn't mean that from today till tomorrow or throughout this day we'll start revealing the upper lights in ourselves, flowing up from one degree to the next, but it's clear that our world is entering a very precise calculation with the upper light in nature, and we need to hurry up and help that force in doing this. What is our responsibility in the knowledge of the Lord in the world? How can our desire come close to some desire for the goal, for knowing the Creator in the whole world? We have to do as much as comes to our hands, like look at the screens, look from all ends of the world. You have men and women, and through them we want to reach all of humanity as much as the Creator will open this desire in all of humanity. So today they already have an ability to come to us, go into our archive and incorporate with us, moving toy of 1. There's this feeling that the world is entering a new state that wasn't there in the past. What is our responsibility towards that? What do we need to prepare before this transition? We need to explain to the world. Forgot how to speak Russian. Only the connection between us is what will save the world, each and every one of us, and otherwise we will go in states of general destruction. We have the forces to do this, and the ability, and the words, and the upper system that is standing on our side. We need to really try and prepare ourselves to be as those flows of the lights of the Messiah. New York 3. New York 3. Yeah, Rob, it seems that we're not sure what to do with this information. Bam tells us that we're at the beginning of the days of the Messiah. We're at the beginning of the revelation of the Creator, and it seems like we're not sure how to act about it, or it's not like awakening us to jump. Should we be scared? Should we be excited? What we hear, let's take this and spread it in humanity. That's it. Let's scrutinize as much as we can, but the main thing is spreading this knowledge in all of humanity that we are in a state of the days of the Messiah. Gently, patiently, that they won't think about us, that we weird, and in this way we can attain Kanoke, what he calls the Torah, rope that's being thrown to a person. Also the central religions in humanity took from the Torah, the Jewish people, and here is saying that the book of the specifically is the wisdom of. That's the life-saving rope that will help our generation. Yeah, so I'm asking what's in this rope that silences all the other explanations and forms and interpretations. I can't really say. I think our generation hasn't discovered the secret and power that is in the book of Z, and as much as this book as a rope can take us out of our state into the light, I don't know how to explain this. We don't see it in the book of Z itself. In the yearning for the book of Z and the force of the book of Z, we aren't discovering this yet, but we do need to be prepared for it and to try and come close to it as much as possible is also a certain form of a medicine, like a spice, because today great sickness is being revealed. We first need to get to know the sickness and the inability to heal it, and then the wisdom of will kind of bring the solution. It's written about that, and something that towards the days of the Messiah, great suffering will come on all of humanity, and it'll be very difficult for us to get rid of him. We'll see. Last question. You once said that reading in the Z can really help. Will we at some point be able to read a little? Yeah, we used to read, and every evening we used to read the Z for half an hour before we used to go to sleep. From N or 8 to 8:30 or 8:30 to 9, I don't remember. We used to read the book of Z because the feeling of reading the book of Z alone is almost impossible. Not alone only. Together we used to come to that place where we used to gather and we just sit and read. There were people who knew how to read well, and they were the readers, and everyone would just listen to them. Thank you said that we need to disseminate to the world that we're coming to the days of the Messiah, but in an understood manner, in a way that, how would you translate to that are more clear, that the days of the Messiah, how would you say it in our words? It's the time when people can understand more of the message of the wisdom of and the book of Z. They are going to be ready more to absorb this book and to really try to hold on to it. How would you had to, I don't know, invert this concept, the days of the Messiah, to a message? How would you express it? There is a force from above that's about to be revealed and come close to us, and changes in our minds and our feelings that will be able to discover it and attain it and identify with it. What does it mean that this force is from above, that it's from above entirely to bestow and not to receive like us? Why is it called from above, up or down? That's how we define it. That up is B and below is a reception. Okay, it's written here that the Torah is revealed, doesn't need any intention or thought. What does that mean? Can you explain that? That the Torah is bestows on a person and opens all of his desires, connects them directly, and man can absorb directly what we call mouth to mouth. Directly can get a message from above and be filled with it, and in this way to connect and identify with the upper force. But how could it be that we don't need the intention? When do we need the intention? The intention will come because in heart and soul a person will yearn to hear to the Creator, to engage in the reveal, to connect with the friends even when you don't have the intention. Is that the idea that we start from what we can, meaning to connect to the friends that all in all want to discover the essence of life, the purpose of life, and for this they join a group broader and broader, bigger and help his friend, and according to all the conditions of the connection to engage in love thy fish thyself, which is the essence of the revealed to you. Can do that even when you don't have the intention. It will later come. Is that what he's yesing here? Yep. Yes, that is for everyone. Yeah, also about dissemination At the beginning of this war on October 7th, something very special happened, a true disclosure that I see that in our nation in one day they understood that the right for us to exist is unity. Everyone agrees, everyone talks about it. There's no one else to convince what we tried to convince for 20 years. We appeared as strange, it all of a sudden happened in one day, and my question, can we move after 20 years of talking about unity is our salvation, start dealing with practical ways, because they already agree on that. Now what are the practical ways? Truly build a plan for unity of the people, make our dissemination one step forward and start to truly, how does it enter these systems, definitions, what connects, what separates, and all those things that we have to do. Yes, this war really gave us an impulse for it. Thank you, amen. May we start. It really feels like this is the time that we waited for so long, so don't wait, start doing. Thank you. Where are we are, and we should know that's spiritual matters. We should know that spiritual matters are not like corporal matters, where giving and receiving come as one in spirituality. The time of giving and the time of receiving are apart. This is because first it was given from the Creator to the receiver, and in this giving he only gives him a chance to receive. However, he has not received anything until he is properly sanctified and purified. Then one is rewarded with receiving it. Thus it may take a long time before the time of giving and the time of receiving. Accordingly, saying that this generation has already come to the verse, for the earth will be full of the knowledge of the Lord, refers only to the giving. Yet we have not yet come to a state of reception when we are purified, sanctified, studied, and exerted in the desire amount. The time of reception will arrive, and the verse, for the earth will be full of the knowledge of the Lord, will come true in us also. It is known that redemption and the complete attainment are intertwined. The proof is that anyone who is drawn to the secrets of the Torah is also drawn to the land of Israel. This is why we were promised, for the earth will be full of the knowledge of the Lord only at the end of days, meaning during the time of redemption. Thus, as we have not yet been rewarded with the time of reception in the complete attainment, but only with a time of giving by which we have been given a chance to achieve complete attainment, so it is with redemption we have been rewarded with it only in the form of giving. The fact of the matter is that the Creator delivered our holy land from the foreigners and has given it back to us. We have not received the land into our own authority, since the time of reception has not yet come, as we explain next concerning the complete attainment. Thus he has given, but we have not received, since we have no economic independence, and there's no political independence without economic independence. Moreover, there is no redemption of the body without redemption of the soul, and as long as the majority of the people are captive in the foreign cultures of nations and are incapable of Israel's religion and culture, the bodies too will be captive under the alien forces. In this respect, the land is still in the hand of the foreigners. The pro is that no one is excited about the redemption as it should have been. With redemption after 2 millennia, not only are those in the diaspora not inclined to come to us and delight in the redemption, but a large portion of those that have been redeemed and are already dwelling among us are anxiously waiting to get rid of this redemption and return to the countries from which they came. Even though the Creator has delivered the land from the hands of the nations and has given it to us, we have not received it, and we are not enjoying it. With this giving, the Creator has given us an opportunity for redemption, meaning to be purified and sanctified and assume the work of the Creator in. And at that time the temple will be built and we will receive the land into our own authority. Then we will experience and feel the joy of redemption. Oh yes. Please, I wanted to ask, right, that the time of giving and the time of receiving are apart. What exactly did we not receive? What did we receive? A method. That's also a question. Is this the method? What we got, is this what it means to receive? It is this only spreading around the world. So what did he give? I don't know. It's not clear to me what the giving is, what their receiving is, and in which way that action itself needs to take place. I also am not capable of grasping what he means that he gave but we didn't receive. I don't know enough. I'm not sure enough to explain it to you. What's the pressure of receiving this land? What's the need? By this we reach a purpose of creation, that the nation of Israel in the land of Israel, corporal and spiritual, together will know how to correct humanity and the whole world. The essence of Israel is that the people of Israel will receive the land of Israel, or that it will spread in the whole world, spread around the world. So what's the need of this area, of this land specifically? I guess there's a necessity in it too. What is it that we sit in this land? What's in this land? What's special about it that I can't tell you? I guess there is a resemblance between corporality and spirituality. And what do we need to do to receive this land, to be ready and worthy for it in our inner desire and the relations between us, and when it will be suited and there will be, it will be adapted between the corporal and the spiritual to be a group that's connected in Israel. What will happen? That's not enough. The fact that there'll be a group here, that in their connection we'll be able to reach all nations of the world and explain to them that to connect together is the purpose. Then it's considered that we received this land. I think so. As it's written, the future of Israel will spread round the world. Yes, I grew up in this country. These words of Balaam are very close to my heart. I really feel it all my life, ever since I was a little child. I see that I'm living in a country that people in the best case scenario don't understand what they're here for. In the worst case scenario, they simply take advantage of reality. They came, like some of the people came, to make bank in this land. It's simply the nature. I can't find people that when I look I don't see who you can build a state with. I don't see human beings that on one hand have Zionism, meaning understand even externally what, why they're here, and that's not enough either, because he also needs to be the wisdom of God in the heart of a person to know what that is and what to do with this corporality. And it really hurts to see seemingly this people are, and the reality that we're supposed to come to as it's written here. I think that before the correction comes, the form of the nation is correct. They don't want to connect. They don't want any corrections. They only want to thank each one of themselves and not of the others. Ever I think the state is right, the state before the correction. I also feel that in order to build something new, everything has to crumble. All the previous are perceptions. Yeah, something that will erect this new form that depends on us. We have to resurrect this from zero. There's a very big gap still when I look at this nation and this people, its essence and the fact that it's here, meaning I see it's more than one step for this to happen. Clear how from the state it exists in today, how it becomes truly the people of Israel. That could be in one step that specifically doesn't work according to how our mind works out. We understand the stages of correction. It could be one stage. Thank you very much. The main thing is that people feel good and bad, they're sensitive to it, and then by the upper influence on them you can turn them around with one little press of a button. I'm sure it can happen, and quick. Specifically the stages we have gone through are coming and understanding as much as we are evil, stubborn as much as we don't want any changes, that the toe is demanding all these things are in the right preparation, and yes, we can attain the complete correction. I also see that today people around the world are more or less understand what the correction of humanity has to be, and as much as it's possible to talk about it already in public before everyone think the work isn't so difficult. It is fundamental. It demands persistence, but not that. Today humanity cannot understand this. What we're talking about, people understand that another war, what's going to come from this, what'll be with this, they see as much as these things don't bring any good results. And what's the benefit today? You already have a broad consensus to this. I think only we don't understand anymore. As much as the result depends on our inner work that each and everyone must hold on to, friend to the friends in a way that he has to be sure that only in the connection between us we bring the upper light, the light that reforms to all of humanity. Okay, no questions about that, all right. Yeah, it says do all that you can, and the salvation of the Lord is like a blink of the eye. It seems like the Creator truly performing a filtering process where he's kind of like washing the whole world, first with the and then the wars and the disclosure of anti-Semitism in the world. It seems like on one hand, who is to the Lord should come to me, he wants correction and wants connection, and on the other hand the qualities that are truly not wanting this thing. Can we see it that way? So how do we? And now you talked about the fact that there are internality that each has to hold on to, a friend, and to be open and be certain that only through the connection between us we will bring the reforming light to all of humanity. How does each of us make that change to who is to the Lord shall come to me when we're constantly in that inclination towards connection internally in the work between us? I think that there isn't such a problem here. Whoever studies Kabbalah understands that in the connection, if we ever succeed, ever could be today and tomorrow, also we will really succeed then in all the world and all of humanity. Okay, thank you. He, in that same verse where he talks about the difference between giving and receiving, he says, but we have yet to come to receiving until we're purified, sanctified, and learn and exert and measure that needed. The reception will come, and then the knowledge of the Lord will fill the. Can you explain this conditions until we're sanctified and purify and educate, etc.? No, that's already too much. I don't know how to explain it either, but in short, to be in such equivalence of desires and goals that we'll be able to all incorporate there together and with the Creator together. That is clear. Yep, a Moscow, one. You see that we should have this confidence, but where are we going to get that feeling of confidence that we're advancing in the correct way, that we're moving towards correction? Where in your eyes you're seeing completely opposite things, a world that's entering suffering, chaos, wars, dissemination that we're doing for years, and the result from dissemination is not clear connection in a small 10 that is needing to correct everything, and some small 10 of 10 people before this huge world feeling of confidence were. Where do you take it from? Not even the understanding which how that will happen, because that's completely unclear how that will happen. Where are we and where are what we're talking about, but at least the feeling. Or we have to do it such that a person, in the way of correction, doesn't need to get such a feeling, but has to be completely obscured and in confusion, and that's the way the path of the correction has to be, based on our teachers and their rules, that we are going according to them. There's nothing else but that platform, that from it we can start the correction. That's what I can say. Right. Announcements today at 5:30 to 6 p.m. Israel time. We will be reading the study of test will be broadcasted today. Our broadcast 10 to 10:30 news program, 12 afternoon lesson, 5:30 reading the study of the 10 will conclude with the song